Let's look at activity 1 for our green building terminology section here in Design 300. So the first thing to do, of course, is to become familiar with what green building means. So there's a document here. You can go to this document right here and click on this, and here's the document, and it's got a bunch of information. You should know that in Google Docs in particular, actually it happens in Word and PDF and everything too, but there's usually a navigation panel. So I'm going to show the outline. Oh, look, I can go exactly to the area that I want just by clicking on it. Let me make this a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see on the screen. And so the first thing to do is just to read through these very quickly. Okay, look at the bullet points, read the first items, just read through it to yourself or as a group together, read through it and know what's in here. There's what does sustainability mean, what does renewable mean, what does recyclable mean, greenwashing, and we're not going to go into formaldehyde in this class, but formaldehyde is one of the materials that makes things not green even when you're using green materials. So so you'll want to go through that and take a look. Then over on your green building slideshow, there's a little place to put stuff in on each one of these. So for instance, under the Google Bard prompt, this was done by Google Bard, you could copy the prompt and place it in here, and I'm going to right click paste without formatting. So that was the prompt, and let's see, sometimes this response is a little bit long, so you might want to edit a little bit. Okay, so you might take the most important part in it and add those into here. And if these things are kind of important, you might just copy these. So this takes a little bit of thought and a little bit, it's not just copy and paste, but it's pretty much copy and paste. And you want to take the portion from each of these that seems to be the most important, to get the idea across in a clear, concise way. Okay, and there's a little bit of work to do. You're going to be learning how to use Google Slides and these things. And I'm going to show you another thing. If you want to go ahead and make those bullet points, they look a little funny at first. Oh, those ones actually came out okay looking. Okay, but if you want to look at those, you can go to the format options and look at the text fitting, and you can look and see how the indentations are made and how big they are and how they look. You can change those if you need to. And then after I've read it, each of you should come up with your own follow-up question. You know, like you might say, oh, here's using recycled and renewable materials. You might go, how much recycled materials are actually used in construction? Something that shows that you have read the material and you're interested in finding out more that was not in the original response. That's part of research. Look again. Research. Look again. So you put the information in, you've kind of acquired it, you've assimilated it, but that should prompt you to have more questions. Okay, and then pick some keywords out of here and find some images. Sustainable architecture and construction. Let's see if I can get an image of that sustainable architecture and construction. That's the key word that I'm going to use right now. We'll go to good old Google and type that in and see if I can find an image. That's a pretty cool image right there. Any of these images are kind of cool, but this one is sort of showing all the different portions of it, and so is this. So I might choose this one and put it in here. Now, those of you who are interested in all the issues about intellectual property, since you're not taking the majority of that work and you're using it to further an educational activity, you are allowed to do this. Okay, so there's how you do that, and you would want to do that for each one of these. Let me do recycle and renewable materials, but you have to be a little bit careful. You know, you want this to be sure that you're talking about construction. So it might be a little bit different. Okay, so here's 5 sustainable building materials. Those and it's listing them. So I can maybe copy that image and put it in over here. And if it's a little too big on the sides, always change the size from the corner buttons. If you need to shrink it down, use the crop tool to make it smaller. But you definitely want to keep what's called the aspect ratio. Okay, so if I squeeze this inwards, it looks funny. It just looks wrong. Same if you do it this way, it looks wrong. Okay, you always want to resize from the corners. And if you can do some work to get everything lined up well, centers and things like that, and then this was my actual keyword search. And again, I always do paste without formatting. Okay. You can do some nice things on these, which would be to go to the format options again, put a little line around them and put a drop shadow on them. That always makes it look a little nice. You do not necessarily need to keep these little boxes. Those are there to help you figure out what's going on. Whoops, hold on a sec. But if you do that, if you get rid of those, you need to have the text in there. So here I've put it in just as a text. Control C, Control V. Okay, and that gives you a little opportunity to make these bigger if you want. Okay. Put some time into making this look really well. And then the last thing is, what is that definition? Here it is right here. That is the definition. There we go. And I can adjust those sizes too if I need to. Okay, but that lets somebody get a very, very good brief understanding that you have done your research on this. Okay, now the last thing to do is to take your little snipping tool down here and snip these images. Comes up on my snipping tool looking like this, so I'll do a Control C, go back to the first one, do a Control V, and this is about sustainable now. Okay, and I can crop that just a little bit more. I can get rid of the images word, bring that one up. If I want to, I can move some things together just a little bit, and I can get this to be a nicely sized image that will show up for you right here. There we go. And again, I like to have the little line around it. I think it looks a little bit nicer. It's easier for our eyes to go to. And again, if you want to get rid of these boxes, you can do so. And have a little bit more room to work with some of these. And I can see over here that I've got a little bit of an issue right there. A little bit of an issue right there. Now I have a better looking view. All right, so this becomes your summary page. So there we go. Those are your sort of instructions, a demo on how to do activity 1 of your About Green Building work.